Hey, how's it going, everyone? Good morning. We got some interesting topics for you today. I've got me. My name is Daniel. This is my co-host Victor Zupanowski and Kevin Josefowski. They can introduce themselves if they would like. Got some really interesting topics on the market today. Westbrook, Clippers, um, who's the strongest team in the West, who's the strongest team in the East, as well as some of the information with Lonzo and his injury. Um, Victor, if you want to kick us off, we're going to start with the Westbrook and Clippers situation. What do we think about that, boys?
I think it's good for the Clippers. I mean, Westbrook seems like he's happy there. Clippers are sitting 33 and 29, fifth in the West. We'll see how that big three of him, Kawhi, and Paul George go. Kawhi has only played 35 games this year due to injuries.
Okay. What about you, Kev?
That's a good point that Victor made. Hopefully, we can see this trio actually on the court. We haven't really seen much of Kawhi and PG together at all. Obviously, with John Wall being there, it didn't work out amazingly. Obviously, they're still very top seed in the West. Hopefully, Westbrook can find a way to get his groove back. Because if he does, I think this can be a very good team and can make a push towards the conference finals or even making the finals.
Yeah.
I just
So
want, if anybody's actually watching this, I just want the viewers to know that these are two Westbrook haters and that I'm personally a Westbrook,
dude,
I'm not going to say meat writer, but,
So I
I
like to
love
see
the player.
Westbrook succeed,
Yeah.
but just this past season, I have nothing to be excited about.
No,
You
and
know,
that's such like a good point. Like honestly, like again, from somebody that's loved watching him play since he was on OKC, and like
of course.
obviously that doesn't make me a super fan, but since watching him play on there, like I don't know, dude, it's really fun to watch him play. But last year on the Lakers, like there's just too many mistakes that he was making constantly. So I hope when he gets
Yeah,
to the Clippers, him, Kawhi, and Paul George can play well, and we know that Russell Westbrook and PG can play well together. Because we saw them on what team was it that they played together? Oh, OKC. Yeah,
Oklahoma City.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got big hopes for them in the West. Um, as of right now, who do you guys think gives them the hardest competition? Obviously, the Suns, the Mavericks, everyone in the West is hard, but who do you
I
think
just I
puts
just
the
want to
biggest
add
edge?
really quick before I
Yeah.
get to that. So I'm not a Westbrook hater, man. I'm just like the thing is that we argue back and forth is who is better in their prime is D Rose. That's the
Mm,
like that's what I argue. That's why I'm saying like I'm big like I love Chicago. I love Derrick Rose. He was my
yeah.
favorite player growing up, and I'm always gonna take Derrick Rose's side over Westbrook. That's my argument, but like. I mean, he's a great player. He has two MVPs. You can't discredit him. He deserves like the credit, and like the media hasn't been giving him that credit. And then just with the Lakers situation, like there's a lot of personalities in that locker room and a lot of like big names. I mean, it wasn't all Westbrook's fault, and you can't blame Westbrook for that team not working out.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like it I don't know. He just I definitely could see how he could contribute to that team not being so successful, because like if you have a player that's literally causing you like a what's the word I'm looking for? If you have a player that's impeding on your team's ability to get to the finals or to win a championship or something like that, you do have to take a look at your roster and say, okay, like, do I need this guy on my team? But that being said, when he gets to the Clippers, I think personally every team in the West got better. Like it seems like, D'Angelo Russell going to the Lakers, huge plus for the Lakers. That's a good point guard that they kind of need. Um, Obviously Kyrie and Katie's going to two contenders for the championship this year. They just got stronger. But surprisingly, like honestly, if I can give a little bit of like a hot take here, I think Clippers have one of the best shots at winning the West, which I know is probably stupid because there's so many teams in the West right now that could win, but I don't know. I just think the Clippers have a really good shot.
To answer your question from earlier, I think the one team that has can give them the most trouble, to me, it's going to be Denver. Jokic has everything to prove this season. There's no excuse as to why they cannot make the finals. Back-to-back MVPs. Hell, could even get the third this year. I mean, I hate to talk about betting and sports odds, but he has the highest odds to win an MVP, which would be 3 years in a row, and that hasn't been done since Larry Bird, whenever the hell he played.
Yeah,
That's
And
insane.
he's averaging.
so yeah, I mean, he's putting up insane stats. It's kind of hard not to give it to him. Personally, I don't want to really see him win it again just because I already seen him win it twice, and the same two people the past 4 years win it. But yeah, I think the Nuggets definitely are going to give the hardest push to win the Western Conference Finals. Like I said, Jokic has a lot to prove. It could be really great for his legacy because at that point, he could already be in that conversation for like a top 10 center of all time. Again, I think it's kind of a crazy take, but he's very skilled. We've never seen a skilled center like him. And he has all the tools. They have the record, they're the number one record, they're the number one team record-wise in the West. So at this point, if they don't win, then something might have to be done. So I think the Nuggets are definitely that team.
Yeah, 100%. I think Nuggets have to do something very soon, like Jokic is only getting older, and I don't know if they don't win this year, who knows who they're gonna try to bring in. I know I saw something saying that like someone interviewed Jokic at the All-Star game and said like, who would you want to team up with? And he said the only player is Luka Doncic. And Luka Doncic was the only player at his birthday party. His birthday was a couple days ago. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No, did he invite did he invite other NBA players?
No, he only invited Luka Doncic, dude. So I mean, but I know Jokic, he won't leave Denver. I think he said he's strict on not leaving Denver. So
that, and he just signed the biggest contract in NBA history just over the summer. So he's there at least 5 more years unless he asks for a trade. But even if he asks for a trade, is it going to happen? Like we saw what Rudy Gobert's worth. Yeah. What's a back-to-back MVP that's averaging a triple-double? What do you need to trade for it to get him,
Yeah.
So he's there at least 5 more years.
What's interesting about this topic to me is that like I think the purpose of kind of this show is to have like two people that know a lot about basketball and one person that's kind of just a casual viewer. Because you guys have seen how like sometimes casual viewers like make the most like weird takes, but at the same time, because you have an outside kind of image of the sport, you may have a little bit of a better chance to kind of like make a good prediction. But one of the interesting things about me as a casual viewer, because that's the purpose again that I serve, is that I feel like I don't hear anything about Jokic like at all. Like I did not know that he won MVP back-to-back the last 2 years. Which, you would think, I feel like, and again, I wouldn't consider myself like a non-existent basketball fan, but I like knew, okay, in the last year, like Jokic, yeah, he won an MVP, but for him to be in the conversation now 3 years in a row and win 2 of them, that's pretty insane. And he doesn't, it's kind of crazy that he doesn't get the media coverage that other players do. Which brings me to my next point, because we're going to talk about KD and the Suns. That's a player that I think gets a little too much credit. I know that he has a ring. I know that he has an MVP. I know that he's I know that he is a phenomenal player, but personally, I don't feel that KD has done enough for me to see. Like people see him on screen and they're like, that's the best like basketball player in the league right now. And I would say skill wise, maybe, yes, he's got an insane bag. He's tall. He's amazing. He's KD, right? But I just think that maybe people need to put him a little lower on their ranks. But I want to get your guys' opinion on that. And then I also want to hear what you guys think about the KD being on the Suns now and what that means for their team.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I think KD, like, he deserves the credit he gets, man. He's an amazing player, he proves it. And he's, like he came back from that Achilles injury and he's still balling, A lot of people don't come back the same after that type of injury, and he's playing as good, if not better, than he was before the injury. So, I mean, you can't just discredit him. And like he's one of the best scoring players this game has ever seen. You can't just say he's a little bit overrated. I mean, I do disagree with the fact that he went to Golden State to try to win rings. I wish he would have stuck with OKC and tried to do it like the harder way. But You know, we'll see how
The
this
right way.
works out. I mean, Devin Booker said that like it's a like people said that it was a super team, but Devin Booker was like the only All-Star we had was KD. So we'll see how far the Suns will go.
Yeah.
You already probably know how I feel on this situation. I'm a big KD fan. I defend KD, not to extreme levels, but like he was like probably one of next to D Rose. He was like one of my favorite players growing up. I always just love watching this game. And back to what you said earlier about people, like not like giving them too much credit, this and that. I don't really know where people have him in all-time rankings. I've seen people, for the most part, I've seen people like he's not in the top 10, which don't hate that. Yeah, I like honestly, like I don't really like everyone's gonna have like a different view on how they rank their top 10, whether it's skill based, legacy based, or a mixture of both.
Yeah.
So personally, I think he's in the top 10. I think he's definitely a top 10 talent we've ever seen. On top of that, he's got the scoring champions. He's an MVP, two-time finals MVP, two-time NBA champion. And yeah, he did play for probably the greatest team ever assembled. Like skill-wise, because you have Curry, you have Clay, you have all those guys. Like that team was nuts. Like that shouldn't have happened. Like the fact that
That
happened,
team
like,
that
it
team
still,
really
it
was
still blows my
insane.
mind. But that being said, you still have to go out there and win.
Yeah.
How many people have won a ring just by themselves? You know, like look at LeBron, all the people he had. Like you need other superstars to win a ring if you're like want to compete and win. So now obviously there's more players that have more meaningful rings than KD. Number one factor, Dirk.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was about to
His
say
ring
that.
is probably the most meaningful ring of all time. I think all rings count, but obviously some hold more value. But I'm not gonna like say that KD's rings hold no value or they don't mean anything because still got to go out there and win. He beat LeBron. The
Who
I don't know where y'all have him all time, but that's the greatest player of all time.
are
To
you?
most people,
Yeah.
others.
Yeah. Are you saying KD beat LeBron, or are you saying Dirk beat LeBron?
Well, both of them did, but
Both
like
of them did, right?
people, another thing is like when people talk about KD on the Warriors, he was the best player on that team when he played for the Warriors. He didn't get carried. He wasn't just out there going through the motions, just doing whatever. No, in the finals, he was averaging both years in the finals when they won, he was averaging 30 points.
I could
And
yeah.
back-to-back
Sorry, go ahead.
finals MVPs. Like he was 100% the best player on that team. So like, I don't know.
I could see you saying that he wasn't being carried, because definitely he wasn't. He was contributing to the team. But no, I guess I'm not even gonna dissect that, because like I think what you mean is that he was the best player on the court during that finals. Which my brain went to, was he the best player on Golden State, or is he the best player on Golden State like over the last few years? And it's like, no, like Curry has cemented his legacy in the top 10, and he has 4 rings, and like, yeah, it's just, that's tough
No,
to
like
beat.
while KD was there, he was the best player on the Warriors.
Right. Which makes
100%.
a lot of sense for sure.
Yeah,
How do you
100%.
guys feel about kind of like what, because as two fans of KD, and I'm a fan of KD too, how do you guys feel about him leaving the Warriors and going to, what was it? No, he didn't go to Boston. He went straight to Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, went straight to Brooklyn after that.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I first got the notification that KD was going to Brooklyn, I was a little confused because I was like, well, why the hell Brooklyn? Like that's a very random team.
Yeah.
And Kyrie went there. I'm not sure. Maybe Kyrie went there first. Regardless, when both of those two went there, it was like around the same time. I was like, really random. Brooklyn of all damn teams. I thought he was gonna like return to go home to where he's from, which was DC.
Yeah.
Or join a team like the Clippers or something. So that was kind of it really threw me for a curveball. I kind of forget.
Yeah.
It's kind of like his time on Brooklyn was like a blur.
It was. It really
Even
was.
though he was playing some of it like today, like this season before he got injured, he had like statistically and like one of his best scoring seasons ever.
No.
And like I don't know, like I said, it was just a blur. Him
Yeah.
on Brooklyn.
No, for sure. I think, and it's funny because like, again, people will say that I never said this, which is why I started putting my tweets and stuff so that way I can remember them and go back and talk shit later. But basically, I don't understand how you mismanage that team so much. And I know that they were plagued by injuries. They were plagued by Kyrie's whole thing, and that kind of threw everyone for a whirlwind. But as an organization, I mean, we see it happen all the time. Like organizations throw away championships, and eventually, I'm sure we'll lightly graze on the fact that we're Bears fans for some part, and that is another organization that kills its team. But yeah, I guess I just don't understand how Brooklyn has arguably one of the top, what do you say, top 10 best point guards of all time in Kyrie, maybe even top five, and then
He's top five
additionally
for sure.
top five. Interesting. Why?
Dude, nobody, Kyrie, when he dribbles on the court, man, no, the NBA has never seen a dribbler like him, man. The way he has that ball on a string, he has the best handle the NBA has ever seen, man. Like, just watch him play, like he just does wonders with the ball, and the way he can finish around the rim is
Yeah.
insane.
Did you see why? Like they say that why he's different of a ball handler than like Allen Iverson and all those other guys. Have you guys seen anything about that?
I mean, I've seen that his godfather is Rod Strickland, and he actually kind of like learned a lot from him playing. So like if you like match up their games like
Mhm.
side by side, like it's very similar.
Yeah. So I guess what I was kind of referencing was Kyrie said recently, like he was like, I think the reason why people have such a hard time guarding me is because he uses a lot of his body movement when he dribbles. He says that he feels like right now in the NBA, people use like their hands more, whereas he's shifting his body weight. He's like moving around back and forth. Um, and I don't know. I think that's interesting. Like he really is, honestly, to me, possibly in the top five. Um, I think he maybe needs another really good season, I think, to kind of put him in that top five. But where do you have him, Kev?
All time.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I have him in the top five.
yeah,
Skill wise, I think he's definitely a top five like talent we've ever seen, 100%.
for sure.
Now, like when we talk legacy wise, I don't think so. I mean, he doesn't have an MVP. He does have a ring, of course, which he contributed to immensely.
Heavily, yeah.
Him and LeBron having to drop 40, came back from 3-1, hit the game-winning shot over
Over
Curry,
over the best
over
point guard.
yeah, over the best point guard ever.
Yeah,
It's just, I mean, it sucks that his antics got the best of him over his career. That really makes me upset because Kyrie was another one of my favorite players to watch growing up. Uh,
yeah.
he went to my favorite college. Like he's so fun to watch. He's so
Blue
shifty.
Devils.
He can do just about anything on offense. So it sucks that his antics and like his off the court stuff got like the best of him or like
Yeah.
his career. So I really
Do,
feel like that kind of did stuff to his reputation. But
do you guys think?
I'd love to see Kyrie succeed.
Yeah. Do you think there was anything that Kyrie could have done though? Or do you think that NBA players are just always going to be? I mean, we've seen it, they're always demonized. KD, Curry, LeBron, especially, is probably the biggest guy that's been crapped on in the last 2 decades. But do you guys think that plays a huge factor, or do you think Kyrie was like inevitably going to cause conflict within those teams that he goes to? Because this isn't the first time now. Like
Yeah.
with the Cavaliers, he decided to go his own way and leave them. And then after that, he went to Boston and he wasn't happy in Boston. And then he goes to, Brooklyn, and then he has more problems. And now he's in the social media spectrum. Like, what do you guys think? You guys think that Kyrie was destined for this, or do you think that the media kind of had it out for him a little bit?
That's what's interesting about like when you look at players today and then players back then. Like Jordan and Bird and them, they didn't have to like hop on Twitter after a game and see what people were saying. They didn't have social media. So you can really see like their antics off the court,
Right.
what they were talking about, like political wise and just all sorts of the stuff. Obviously, now it's a new age. We have the access to the world in our hands right here.
Yeah.
So you're able to say what you want, do what you want. So
Create
maybe,
burner accounts.
yeah, burner accounts like KD. So obviously people are gonna like try to people say crazy stuff on the internet all the time just to like just have a hot take.
Yeah. Well,
And you could piss people off. So
yeah, and so I think we've kind of talked about this of how, like, imagine if Larry Bird had Twitter. I honestly would fully suspect him to say some outrageous stuff over Twitter. Like, like again, like, we knew about all of these guys like Michael Jordan and Bird and all them, and they were 100% trash talking on and off the court. Like the commercial with Kobe, and he's sitting at the table, and he's like, "How many olives would you like, sir?" And he's like, 81. And he's looking at what's his name, Jalen Ram. What was it again? Not
Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Ram.
Rose.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, no, I 100% agree. But what about you, Vic? What do you think?
Well, I think the media definitely has like a little bit of influence on the players. I mean, back then, Jordan, like it was crazy, like the amount of like people knew him and loved him like all around the world, and they didn't have social media back then. And just like the power these athletes have to like use social media now. And I know even Curry, he'll at halftime, if he's playing bad, he'll go on social media on Twitter and like see what people are tweeting about his game, and they'll just feel his drive to play better the next half.
Yeah, most definitely. I don't know. I think if you were to go back and you were to say like, all right, we're gonna give social media to Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rod, not even Scottie Pippen, he wasn't good, but let's say Dennis Rodman, for example. Like, yeah, you would see a lot of that going on. I think the main difference between like back then and now is that the players are on a lot bigger of a stage, especially. I mean, I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but I would say basketball has probably gotten a lot more popular in the last few years, and or not in the last few years, but in the last like 2 decades, like after Jordan. So, to me, I would say that it's not just the social media aspect of it, but it's also that they're playing on a lot bigger of a stage. There's a lot more eyes on you, and there's a lot more people to piss off too, right? Because it's not just now basketball fans that you're dealing with. It's also casual fans that have, like, let's say, different political agendas than you, or difference of opinion in other aspects of life. So there's always going to be that little thing that a basketball player could say. He's one person. There's always going to be one thing that he could say that's inevitably going to get blown up and thrown out of context and everything. And it's like, you can't make everyone happy. I definitely don't agree with kind of like him getting stripped of all of his stuff. In terms of brand sponsorships, in terms of like teams not even letting him, or like kind of blacklisting him in a way. So I definitely don't agree with that, but what can you do? At least he's on another team now. I did kind of want to ask you guys, based on Kyrie's track record, it seems like he's probably going to have an issue in Dallas too. What do you guys think? I mean, do you think it's smooth sailing from here? Do you think him and Luka are going to be best buddies, or what?
I mean, I hope it works out, like, see, the thing is like, I don't know if it will. I mean, they're playing good right now together. They're both putting up good stats and stuff, but like they are two players that both like need the ball in their hands at like a majority of the time on the court. So they're both playmakers, and I really hope it works, because I'm a big Luka Doncic fan. I want to see him win a ring and succeed. But I mean, can I see Kyrie maybe like getting out of Dallas? Yes, I can. Like, I mean, I don't know, like this wasn't his preferred destination. He wanted to go play with LeBron and the Lakers. So we'll see. Only time will tell. I can't say yes or no, It just like maybe he does like playing with Luka and the Mavericks. Maybe it worked out better for him than it would have with the Lakers. And I even saw something saying that inside source was saying that Anthony Davis a couple of weeks ago, when LeBron hit the record, that he was kind of frustrated with the Lakers, and that next season he could be going to the Mavericks. So that might be interesting too.
Wait, you said AD?
Yeah, Anthony Davis.
Okay, so real quick, there's a lot of things that I wanted to hit on. First, I don't think any team should be trying to get AD. I think he's injury prone, and I think he's a great player when he's like healthy. But that's the key word there, healthy. If you have a player on your bench that can drop you 50 points on a night, but he's available for 20% of the season, that to me is not something that's valuable. And like, as Chicago Bulls fans, I remember over the last like 2 years, we've been saying like if AD leaves the Lakers, like he could come back to his hometown in Chicago, and that would be it is his hometown, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, no, that would be like incredible. But again, I wouldn't want that. I honestly wouldn't want a hurt or potentially hurt AD on my team. That being said, I also did want to go back and say, so it's your opinion that Kyrie wanted to go to the Lakers? Because I didn't get that impression. I got the impression
Oh,
that
he
like,
did. He wanted to go there. That was his choice of like where he wanted to go. But the owners, they didn't want to trade him there. They like literally said that like they didn't want to trade him to a team that he wanted to do. It's the same situation that happened with Donovan Mitchell. He wanted to play for New York, but they said that they rather trade him to Cleveland because it's like it wasn't an option of where he wanted to go.
yeah. Okay. So here's the thing, though, right? So I knew that they didn't want to go to the Lakers, but I I knew about LeBron wanting Kyrie to come because LeBron was not adamant, but he had made some comments about like, oh yeah, like that's the best point guard, or that's like probably the best point guard that I've played with, and I'd love to play with him again. But Kyrie didn't really give me that impression. Kyrie was just kind of like going with the flow. It didn't seem like he was all that interested in joining that team. But what do you think, Kev?
So, I honestly I had no idea where he wanted to get traded to. I mean, if I'd at the time I knew he probably did want to go to the Lakers, obviously, to play with LeBron again. And it's LA, who wouldn't love to play for LA? Like
sure.
play for the Lakers, like they're a cool team to play for. But as far as going to Dallas, I definitely did not expect him to go there, and I didn't really anticipate that he really wanted to go there either. But he's playing well.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna like even if like he doesn't want to be there, say he hates it there right now. I think he's definitely gonna like suck it up and like go out there and play, do his best because that doesn't really have any time to waste. He's
yeah,
aging, and I think it's actually gonna work out pretty well in Dallas because Kyrie he can play with other superstars. He played well with KD. He won a championship with LeBron James. And I think it was a good pair because Luka Doncic can play really well with other guards. We saw it with Jalen Brunson. Now, obviously, Kyrie is 15 Jalen Brunsons, in my opinion. But
yeah,
like Jalen Brunson had like a pretty similar play style. He was a playmaker, ISO scorer, and it worked out really well for them. They went to the conference finals with
yeah.
Jalen Brunson as a
You're
second
right.
option, pretty much. So I feel
So
like
now,
Kyrie, it's going to be extremely better
yeah,
as a second option because, like I said, it's literally Kyrie Irving.
yeah.
And I'm just hoping that everything just stays well. Like I said, I just hope the antics don't get in the way because Dallas is a team that I like to see succeed. Because, well, I don't think that team's very good. I'm gonna be honest. Like
Really,
outside of Kyrie and Christian Wood and Luca, the team just
Spencer
isn't.
Dinwiddie.
You don't have him anymore.
They don't have.
mid,
Oh yeah, he went to Brooklyn,
yeah,
right?
Midwitty's on Brooklyn now,
Damn,
but
he was good. I really liked him on.
he was elitely mid. He's all right.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
he's there. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. But like, yeah,
So
I like that team. Like, it's just a bunch of G leaguers with
yeah,
Doncic, Kyrie, and Christian Wood.
that team is scary to me. It's always been scary. Over the last few years in the West, like they look like such a strong team. Luka looks like he can lead. He looks like he can do for the Mavericks what Dirk did. If I'm being honest, like I really do think that he could potentially win a ring by himself if given, a little bit of players here and there. But yeah, no, that just makes it 10 times scarier now, is that you have arguably one of, I would say, top 3 of the best NBA players right now. And that list is to me so wishy-washy because again, throughout the course of a season, you're going to see guys go through spurts where they drop 30, 40, 50, 60, you know what I mean? And that kind of gets washed away because then the other top 3 will do the same thing. I think you have to look at it overall, in the last few years. And I don't know, I think Luka is definitely one of the most skilled players in the NBA. So it's scary to think that, they're going to have Kyrie in the playoffs this year. That's going to be huge. You know,
Yeah, I agree with Kevin. Like, other than those 3 of Christian Wood, Kyrie, and Luca, like that team is not deep, you know. Like
Trash.
they
Trash.
what do you
No,
say?
yeah,
What'd you say?
As I said, trash. Like they're not very good at all. Like
yeah.
Yeah,
instead
I
of
mean,
I was
G League.
shocked when they made that run last year too, because
Yeah.
like they beat the Suns, you know, and it was just insane. They went to conference finals. I was hoping they went to finals, but you know,
yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to hit on quick too is like the reason that I like the Clippers for the finals this year, and that's not an exact take because I'm not 100% sold on the Clippers yet at all, if anything. But what I will say is you have Russell Westbrook, who to me could potentially end in the conversation of top 10 or top 5 all-time point guards. I do think that that's realistically within his reach. So you have Russell Westbrook, who's determined to kind of prove himself. He had a double-double last night against the Kings. I don't know. I kind of have a lot of confidence in him. Besides that, you have Paul George, who again we know that them two work together good, and then Kawhi Leonard, who honestly is again one of the best players of our generation. With those three, I like the fact that they're not a big three. And what I mean by that is like I don't like when players get together and the chemistry just isn't there. For example, what's it called? The Nets, right? You had KD, you had Kyrie, and you had Harden, and everyone and their mother and Blake Griffin at one point, which broke the internet for like a 20-minute segment. But you have all of these great players, and whether it's external factors or it's factors that are inside the locker room or on the court, inevitably it seems like something goes wrong. It seems like the big threes don't really work unless they're developed within the team. Look at the Splash Brothers. So the Warriors, you have teams like the Suns that play well together with two big time players, Devin Booker and what's it called? CP3. But then I think when you add another player to that, for whatever reason, logistically on the back end, the organization struggles. That's why we didn't see Brooklyn win a ring. That's why we haven't seen I wouldn't say Boston, but what's another team that I'm trying to think that has done that? I mean, the Lakers, for example, they won the bubble ring, and I do think that counts. But again, after that win, it didn't seem like they were going to go back to any type of finals or anything like that. So that big three of Kyrie, KD, and Harden ultimately didn't work out. But I think all of them are in a lot better of a position than they were on Brooklyn. Especially, I would say the person who most benefited from this, and tell me if I'm wrong, is maybe James Harden, who is on the Sixers now. And I think him and Joel Embiid could potentially beat out Boston in the East. What do you guys think?
I think that duo is a little bit overrated, in my opinion. I don't know. I just feel like I don't like they're a good duo, you know, but I just don't think the whole team with Philly is like gonna be able to beat out Boston. You know, I think the East is tough. You know, like there's a lot of good teams, and I just don't think that James Harden and Joel Embiid are gonna be enough to beat out and make a push for them to go to the finals. You know.
Mm-hmm. And you, Kev?
I feel like if they do match up in the playoffs, in these upcoming months, I think it's going to be a good series. I definitely do not see Philly beating Boston though in a 7-game series.
Okay.
Like I'll probably take Boston in 5 or 6 because Boston is just such a good team. They have such an overall better team. They actually played last night, and Boston was down 15 with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter in Philly and came back and won. And Tatum had like 14 points. Like he didn't have that great of a game, but he still hit the game-winning shot. Like that team is just overall so good. Kind of makes me upset in a way. You said what, Victor?
I said they're deep, man.
They're very deep. Like every time someone comes in off the bench, I was like, oh, I forgot he was on the team. Like Derek White or like Malcolm Brogdon. Like those are really good players.
Yeah.
And like they could be like a very low end backcourt on like a bad team anywhere else because they're good players.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jaylen Brown is out of his mind this season. Tatum, obviously, I think he should win MVP. He's having his best season ever. They have the best record in the NBA right now. Horford, for some reason, is hitting threes out there. He hit 5 threes in the third quarter yesterday, 2 of them being in transition. I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting sick and tired of him out there doing whatever the hell he's doing with his jump shot. But he's hooping, and this team's insane.
Is it true that Al Horford like gets women? Is that true?
What are you talking about?
I know a lot of women do like Al Horford.
Yeah, that we kind of talked about it last night when we were watching the game.
Yeah, we were watching the game.
That Al Horford gets women. Is it? What do you?
Yo,
I mean,
he's a good looking.
He's a good looking dude. I will say, like, he's not bad looking. I could not imagine watching him walk into a bar, walk up to a woman, and be like, "You're coming home with me." Like, I don't know. I can't see that as like a possibility with Al Horford, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, no, he was pulling last night, and he came up with a lot of really, really needed buckets for that Boston team.
Yeah, they're a good
Victor,
team.
did you
See the? No, I mean, I've never heard. I'm just like kind of shocked about this. I've never heard of this like narrative of Al Horford pulling women off the court. I've seen the Jordan Poole like memes of like the baddies sitting courtside. I've never seen Al Horford seen baddies courtside and then just from 3.
Did you see the video of what the basket that Joel Embiid made last night, Victor?
No, I did not.
Perfect. I'm going to. Okay. Can you screen share? Because I can't screen share because I'm not the host. Can you screen share? Get to YouTube first before you screen share too. But while you're looking up that, okay. While you're looking it up, just look up Sixers, Joel Embiid.
You can actually share your screen. You're the host. Just click share screen.
Okay. Hold on. All right, boys.
The holy tabs, man.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. The other day he was like, "Does your laptop die fast?"
Yeah,
I know why yours does now.
He's got every like website open up.
Everything he's ever fucking Googled.
Okay. Can you see Victor?
Yeah.
Watch this. Can you hear the volume too? Or I guess it doesn't matter actually. Let's just watch. So, yeah, Boston again. I don't know who just made that basket. I'm just gonna let it play.
Dang. That
After the
crazy. Bro,
Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
It literally. So it was ruled it didn't count. But had he shot that a second earlier, man, and that would have been. Where do you guys think? Has there ever been anything done like that at the end of the game?
Yeah,
numerous times.
Yeah,
but from that distance,
yeah,
that was
yes.
Okay.
Come on,
bro. People hit that on the regular, man.
I don't know. I guess maybe it's because I haven't seen that done. Sorry if I'm yelling. Maybe it's because I haven't seen that done like in person. Like I actually got to see that. You know what I mean? Like live.
Yeah. Someone did it the other day too. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Bam Adebayo, but I'm not sure.
So, we were on the topic of Harden, kind of, and the Sixers' performance going into the West or going into the East, and how they're going to do this year. But let's say hypothetically they don't win, and they don't win like at all. Like it's a 4-game sweep by Boston or whoever plays them, or however that situation plays out. Where do you guys think Harden is staying in Philly, or what's your guys' opinion on that?
I mean, I don't know where his mind's at. You know, I don't know if he's trying to win or if he would rather play in a place that's more close to home for him. Because there was a NBA insider that said that there's a 70% chance that he goes back to Houston next season, and he spends a lot of time there still, and he spends the summers in Houston, and he actually works out at the Rockets facility on a regular basis. So, I mean, it's a possibility he goes back to Houston. I mean, I don't know if he could win a ring there. I mean, I personally think Houston needs a little bit more help. I mean, they're a young team, don't get me wrong. I think in a few years they could probably be something, but right now I don't think that addition of Harden they'll go that far.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Harden's definitely in a position where he wants to win. I mean, he's gotten the big contracts. And he said one of the main reasons is that he wanted to go to Philly. It was actually his number one destination, even over Brooklyn when he got traded. It's because he wants to win. He definitely wants to win a finals. And that's why all these trades and stuff keeps happening. But yeah, if he wants to win, then going to Houston would probably be like the last team I go to, because they're really young and they're really bad. So it just wouldn't really make sense. And I feel like Houston shouldn't even want James Harden either, because it's just a waste to sign a player like James Harden. It won't work. They're definitely not going to win right away, because their second best player, I guess, is Jalen Green, who's struggling really bad. And we see Daniel got the Harden jersey on right now. I had to go and grab that real quick.
Thought he was slick.
Hey, of course I had to bring it up just because this is the only jersey that I own. I was in Houston while Harden was playing, and me and my parents went to go see a game. I should remember who we were playing or who they were playing, but I don't. But yeah, no, I think it was just funny that I had the Harden Rockets jersey. I don't personally think he would ever go back to the Rockets either.
He shouldn't want to either.
Right.
Unless they were a contender, then sure.
Yeah.
I think he just likes living there, man. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
the clubs, the strip clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he can meet Lil Baby anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Bro, did you hear about that? I forgot. Someone was like talking about like James Harden when like he got to a team. I can't remember if it was like Brooklyn or to the Philly. He was in a press conference, whatever, and someone was like, "Yo, we gonna get some shots up." He's like, "No, I'm gonna go meet Lil Baby in Atlanta. It's his birthday." You know what I'm saying? So someone was
I know what you're talking about. It's when John Wall got traded to the Rockets. He had just gotten traded to the Rockets, and he had like just arrived in Houston, and they had like met up, and he was like, "Oh, I'm actually about to go to wherever he was going for Lil Baby's birthday. You coming?" And John Wall was like, "Nah, I just got traded to this team." And like that was a really funny story. I remember seeing that a couple months back.
James Harden has to be one of like the funniest like guys off screen, I feel like sometimes, or off the court. He just has like some funny moments, and I obviously I'm a fan because Westbrook was on the Rockets for a little bit, and they're little. You guys ever seen the memes about how like Harden and Westbrook being on the same team was like if your best friend was in your group project with you? It's just a bunch of videos of them dancing on the side, on the court side and everything.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, it was with Cameron Payne too.
Yeah. No, they were fun. They were fun to watch. But yeah, Lil Baby will be in attendance for the playoffs. And I'm sure James Harden will go off for like 50 points or something like that.
Yeah, I would love to see Harden win a ring, but he's just one player. He's going to be one all-time great that just isn't going to.
Really? You don't think he'll ever win a ring?
No. Confidently. Like, I don't think I know he's not going to win one.
I think he could. I think, well, how old is he right now? 30. How old is he?
34.
34.
Yeah, he's floating around that age with like KD and like Westbrook.
And if he hasn't accomplished anything yet, then it's not looking good for the future. I can understand that.
Nope.
Yeah.
I feel like that's past him.
Right. Who knows? Well, I guess we're kind of on the complete subjects of players moving around, big change-ups that came up. One of the ones that was really interesting to me was the Pat Beverly signing of the Chicago Bulls, right?
Yeah.
What's funny to me about that is that like a few days before that, Kevin was explaining to me how Patrick Beverly, and Kevin, you can like give the viewers some stats of why Pat Beverly is not all that, or at least what you told me.
I don't really have anything like too specific, but listen, Pat Bev's cool, I guess. You know, I'm a big Bulls fan, and we're definitely not going to make the playoffs this year. Whatever. I don't even want them to make the playoffs because they do sweep first round exit, get the Cancun earlier, I guess, at this point.
Yeah.
So with signing Pat Bev, I think he is a waste of a roster spot and money. Because like he provides defense, but like he isn't that like he's a good defender, obviously. He's annoying, he's a pest, he gets in people's heads, his energy is insane. But he sucks at basketball.
Yeah, right. So
you see, come on.
Was it true that because I don't know if you were joking or not, but you had kind of mentioned that like
Statistically,
offensively,
he's one of the worst offensive players of all time.
And that's like proven. Like that's insane.
It's like like when you talk good things about Pat Bev, you're like, oh yeah, he brings the energy, he does this, he does that. It's like, all right, yeah. What does he do basketball wise?
Right? What does he do when he's got the rock in his hand?
Exactly. What does he do when he has a rock in his hands? He should press A when he has the rock.
Spam A. Icon pass, man.
Yeah, I honestly think they signed them because like Lonzo's out for the year with his injury, you know.
Yeah.
So I think they're just like looking for like another veteran to have in the locker room, you know.
Yeah. Like why not? You know, I'm not mad at it.
No, I'm not mad at it either. Do I think they would have signed him with Lonzo healthy? No, I don't think they would have really wanted him there. I mean, maybe, but I mean, like when they played against Brooklyn that game, him, Io, and Kobe White, they all played like similar minutes, like each 25 plus. So, I mean, he started that game too, Pat Bev. So we'll see what happens. I don't think they're like making playoffs. It's unfortunate, you know, as a Bulls fan, but it's just this team's not ready to be a playoff contender, you know.
Yeah. Speaking of unfortunate things for Bulls fans, obviously this week we heard about Lonzo Ball, and this actually makes me really upset because, not to sound like one of those hipsters, but like I've been watching Lonzo Ball since he was in high school because Ball is Life and Baller Visions. I don't know if you guys know those YouTube channels.
Yeah.
They would always post his high school games with him and his two brothers when they're in high school. And I've been like, oh, like this dude's sick. I can't wait to see him go to the NBA because college he'll be one and done.
Yeah.
And I've always rooted for Lonzo. You know, he came into the league. Obviously, his dad got him into some stuff with like talking and all the stuff he said. He's better than Curry. He's going to do this and that. He didn't open his mouth once, but like I was always a really big fan of Lonzo. And I was really happy when he got traded to New Orleans because he started playing amazing. He looked so much more comfortable and confident out there. His shot changed, his whole mechanics. Instead of shooting over here, which I don't know who told him to do that, he obviously completely changed his form, and then he was shooting the lights out.
Yeah.
And when he came to Chicago, I was so excited because he's everything you want in a point guard.
Yeah.
He's a great defender. Last season, the first half of the season, with his first season with Chicago, at one point he was shooting a little over 50% from three, which if you would have told someone that 3 years ago, they'd be like, yeah, you're crazy because right now he's shooting 22% from three.
Right.
With that jumper that he had. And it just really sucks to see him not being able to be out there. I kind of anticipated that he wouldn't touch the floor this season because the Bulls, they did draft a point guard, which they didn't need to unless Lonzo was hurt.
Yeah.
They signed Dragic. Now that obviously they signed Pat Bev. So I kind of already anticipated that he wouldn't see the floor this season. And then obviously the news came out this week that they're aiming for a return next year. But even then they're still unsure because the doctors said that they still don't know what's wrong with his knee. He said in an interview a couple months ago that he hasn't ran or jumped in a month, which is wild. So it really sucks to see this because I'd love to see him succeed, and he's a great player. So,
well, they said they've never seen an injury like this before. Like they've never seen a knee injury that has looked like this. Like the doctors are just confused. Like they don't know what to do, you know?
That the pain will not go away.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man, because
I was
when he was hooping, dude, like the Bulls were good when he was playing, like
Yeah.
he was shooting better at the three than Curry was. I remember at that time, like
weren't we number one in the East going into like the first 20 games of the season or something like that, or 30?
At the All-Star break last year, the Bulls were second in the East.
That's so crazy, man. We really did have like something special with that team. That team looked elite. It really did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
What do you guys think? Okay, so let's say, because I really don't know too much about this Lonzo injury, and it sounds like no one really knows right now, like exactly what's going on with him. But let's say hypothetically, not to use the word hypothetically again, but let's say he stays injured for another year, and God forbid, I'm gonna knock on wood here and say this, but like let's say he's just not the same. Like this might be a really bad situation for Lonzo, which sucks because again, I like to see Lonzo play too. Let's say he doesn't recover from this as best as he should. What do you guys think the Bulls need to get back to, let's not say greatness, because how achievable is that in today's day and age of basketball, but what do you think they need to do to get back to the championship level? And this applies even before Lonzo got there, when we had Lauri Markkanen and all of them. Like, what do you guys think that Chicago needs to do as an organization to get us to that point?
Start over.
Yeah,
I agree.
Blow it up. DeRozan's an aging star. He's not going to carry you to the finals.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine needs to figure it out. He's been playing good post All-Star break a little bit. And even a little bit before the All-Star break, he was starting to – he's just been really inconsistent this year.
Yeah.
And that sucks to see after he got a really big contract. But like I'm saying, if there's no upswing within the next year, he's got to restart again.
Yeah. And isn't that crazy though? Because we've been restarting over and over again since Derrick Rose got hurt. Like, that's insane. I mean, how long ago was that? That was 2013, 2020. What was that?
Yeah, 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
But the Bulls, I'll agree. They got a new front office, like they made these moves. They got Vucevic to the Bulls, then they got DeMar DeRozan, and then like they paired all-stars with DeMar DeRozan, like it worked out like the first like half of the season, and then it just like went downhill from there, And, they also paired up Lonzo Ball. I forgot to mention that as well. But I mean, now it's just not working. They were supposed to like make trades at the All-Star break. They didn't make anything, except sign Pat Bev.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate. I was kind of hoping they'd like maybe trade Zach LaVine,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is anyone going to make a comment for how the Chicago Bulls have sort of become a Lakers graveyard? Alex Caruso, Pat Bev, Lonzo, probably AD in a few years. Like, what's going on in Chicago? Are we just like looking at the trade deadline to see if there's any Lakers players that are available? But I did want to actually address, what do you guys think of Alex Caruso? Because that's a player that I kind of like. I know he really just got attention from that one video clip that went viral of him dunking, and everyone was like, oh my God, like this guy can dunk and he's like a really good player. And then he came to Chicago and actually made an improvement to that team. Like he was actually useful and beneficial. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on him.
I think he's a great player, man. I mean, I think he can provide, like if a guy's hurt, like he can start, like he's good. He's a good, like he can start on like a team doesn't have like a good shooting guard,
Yeah.
And like if he can come off the bench too, like he's a great sixth man on your team, he knows his role. He plays like good basketball. Like he plays really well defensively. Like he averages a lot of steals, I think he's a great addition to the Bulls.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of those players that you love to have on your team.
Right.
Like, you're going to go out there and he's going to do everything he can to win. And what's funny is when him and Lonzo played together in Chicago. So last year when Caruso and Lonzo were both on the court and they were both playing healthy, the Bulls were top 2 on ball defense and one of the best defensive teams in the leagues. When one of them was out, when Lonzo was hurt, the Bulls were damn near one of the last ranked defensive teams.
Hmm.
And back to the Bulls' success and what we were talking about Lonzo and Caruso, because Caruso went out with injury too at the same time last year as Lonzo.
Yeah.
So All-Star break last year, Chicago was second in the East. And I seen an article around that time last year, or around the time at the end of the last season, that if Lonzo Ball and Caruso were their health never took a tank, if they kept playing the rest of the season, that the Bulls were on pace for 50 wins, which would have been second in the East to finish. So then they would have played the 7th seed in the playoffs. So, I don't know if that's just wishful thinking on my end, but like I said, the numbers were there, the stats were there. Who knows how it could have played out? They could have even gotten better.
We know we had a good team. Honestly, Lonzo getting hurt the way that he is right now is such a big blow to Chicago fans, because we potentially had, like you said, we were second seed last year. I mean, that's enough said. It's not easy to be second seed, especially after the All-Star break. You know what I mean? Like, that's already half the season is gone. So that takes some effort, and that kind of proves that Chicago was a threat, let's say, at the very least in the East. And I mean, last year I didn't see any other team giving them problems other than who was in that conversation, probably like the Bucks, the Celtics, and maybe the Heat. Obviously Brooklyn was too, but we saw how that went. Like, I mean, who did they get beat out first round?
Bucks.
Yes, by Boston.
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the Bulls?
Yeah, and no, I'm talking about Boston. No, Brooklyn. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
Who
they
did
got
Brooklyn?
beat up. They got beat out by the Nets. Or I
Gotcha.
mean, but they beat the Boston beat the Nets. My bad.
Okay.
I think it's the Bulls, like who they got knocked out by. They got knocked out by the Bucks.
Right. Yeah. So we've kind of talked about what teams need to do to get to the championship, how they can get there, if they'll be there in the next few years. I want to now talk a little bit about like 2023. Who's in that championship conversation? Me personally, I'm gonna say we're gonna see a Warriors versus Celtics finals. And I think I'm on Stephen A's, page or whatever, because I think they might go back to back. I really do. I think I'll talk about this more too, but I want to hear what you guys think. Who's winning the championship 2023 and who's in the finals?
See, I can't pick a winner. I really want to I want to say the Celtics. I like to see that team win. I think they'll come out the East for sure. Either them or the Bucks will come out for into the finals. That'll be the Eastern team. And for my Western team, I think it's either Warriors or Denver. I think either one of those two teams. I can't pick. I think the Eastern teams with the Bucks and Celtics, I think they have a better chance at winning the finals than the Warriors or Denver. But then again, you can't count Golden State out, man. When they're healthy, and they're a scary team, like when
Really are.
when Curry's coming back soon, and doctors are saying that like he's they had a reevaluation and he's making good progress on his leg, and he started his on-court workouts, and he'll be reevaluated next week to see if he'll play. So once he comes back, that team will be scary.
Yeah. So
I love about the league this year, I feel like there's no clear-cut winner for the finals or even for MVP. That's why it's such a hard question to answer, is because I genuinely don't know. The league is just so competitive at this point. But East, it's definitely between Boston and Milwaukee. Just in a 7-game series, no one's going to beat those two teams except each other.
Yeah.
So I would like to see but like I said, Boston's a really good team to see. I would like to see Milwaukee too. Either team I'm cool with seeing. I think they can definitely make some noise like in the finals. Now the West, I'll probably have to go Denver or Phoenix.
okay.
Make it. I'm definitely not counting out the Warriors at all. But if they're gonna make the finals, they need to start making their run now.
Yeah.
They're 500. They already have 30 losses. So, and Curry's still out. He's not back yet. So they need to, if they hope to make a finals run, it needs to start like immediately.
Yeah.
I actually forgot about the KD and the Suns situation too. I completely forgot about that. So they could make the finals too. I can't count them out. I forgot about that.
the league just got so much better. Like it
100%.
really did. I think the only thing that needs to happen is maybe the East needs to get a little bit stronger. Really, I think right now there's probably 4 major teams that are really good, and I would say that's between Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and probably Cleveland. But what do you guys think? Is there anybody else in the East that's problematic? Could be problematic?
You said in the East?
Yeah, in the East.
Yeah, Philly's there, of course, but like I'm saying, when it just comes down, like I'm kind of sounding like a broken record right now. When it comes down to a 7-game series, I just do not see them beating either what's it called, Boston or Milwaukee. Yeah. I just don't really see it happening. And then outside of Philly, I think it's just kind of there's good teams.
Yeah.
But I just really don't see anyone else competing. Brooklyn, obviously, they don't have their 2 stars anymore.
Yeah. Do you think Cleveland's probably the 4th?
Yeah, 100%. They're
Cleveland is really good, but their problem is they are not deep at all. They have 0 bench. I think their best player coming off the bench is Karis LeVert, and he's been very inconsistent this year. And they're young. They need time. They're not there yet.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell has brought that team to a completely new height, but Garland is improving every single year. He's probably one of my favorite point guards in the East. Yeah. He's like everything he's like one of those guys. He's everything you want in a point guard.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not there yet. Maybe in a few years they could be in the discussion as like that 3rd team to come out the East.
Yeah. Especially if Harden leaves Embiid, that they definitely could step in to the number 3 spot, like you said.
Yeah. They're top 4 for sure.
You said what?
I say Cleveland's top 4 for sure, man.
Yeah.
They're tough.
Well, and the reason why I was a little skeptical or like hesitant to say that is because in the East there's also like the Heat, you know what I mean? And Jimmy Butler to me is still always going to be in that conversation of who could come out of the East as long as the Heat continue to give him more support. Now, Jimmy Butler is kind of one of those players where he's really good, but I also could see him never winning a championship, unfortunately, which kind of sucks, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. But I don't know if you guys just saw, he's like, I'm sick of this losing shit. So
Did you see what Damian Lillard said about how he's like, y'all better pray that I don't win a championship. He's like, y'all better pray.
Yeah. Like I'm saying, Dame is another player that I would love to see win a ring. And I think he definitely could have won a ring, but he hasn't beaten his addiction to losing ever since he's gotten in the NBA. So I'm saying I would love to see Dame win a finals, but it's not gonna happen in Portland.
Yeah.
And it needs to happen soon because he's aging. He's 34. He's still balling. But
I think you know what all he's gonna care about this season is? He's going to care about this season is beating the Clippers, because that team has Paul George and Russell Westbrook. I feel like they live in his head like rent free. And I love Damian Lillard. Actually, I actually think he's cold. Like arguably one of the most is clutch. You said what?
Damian Lillard is a top 5 shooter ever.
Okay, you think people often talk about him being one of the most clutch players ever. What do you think about that?
He's very clutch, but when I consider like one of the most clutch players ever, I would consider players that have like a little bit more to their resume.
Yeah.
Other than a rookie of the year and all-star appearances.
Right.
I feel like I'm kind of sounding like a hater right now, but I love Dame. Like he's one of my favorite players ever. I just really want to see him win. But
yeah. Well,
he's really clutch, but
it's fair to say that because like, you know, being clutch in a regular season game when there's 80 some games, it doesn't mean the same as being a clutch player in the playoffs or in the finals. That means a lot.
Which he has actually been very clutch in the playoffs, but like I'm saying, it just didn't amount to anything.
Right. Yeah. No, that's not a hating point. Damian Lillard has some question marks. Oh, Damian Victor goes.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard has some question marks over him for sure. Of I don't know. I don't think he should leave Portland. Actually, I think he should stay there. He seems like he's comfortable there, and I don't want to see Damian Lillard go anywhere else. But I would like to see some other players go to Portland to try to help him out. I think that would be cool.
Well,
I think, huh?
well, he's talked about, like, I remember in an interview, he like I don't think he'll like leave Portland, but I heard him say that like if there was one player that he could team up with, it'd be Giannis. So I mean,
Interesting.
but I don't think I don't think either of those two would like want to like leave the teams that they're on right now to pair up with each other. So, but what was I gonna say? Oh, so like if you guys think like, so what he said in that interview, like they better pray that I don't win a championship. So like what do you think, like if the Portland was ever to like get to the finals and they win, like how emotional do you think Dame will get? And like what do you think he'd say? Like do you think he'd have like a Travis Kelce moment when they won the Super Bowl? Or like how do you think that situation will pan out?
I think it would be a very emotional moment for him, obviously, because he's been there his whole career since he got drafted as like a 20-year-old, however. He's been there over a decade. And he's always brought his best. He's a very loyal player, obviously. So I think it would be a very, very meaningful ring, I think.
If he was able to do it by himself, do you think it would be worth more than the Dirk ring?
That's who he beats. Like Dirk beat a prime LeBron, D Wade, and Chris Bosh.
Oh yeah,
But-
that's
But if
plays up
if
against-
Damian Lillard won against LeBron, Curry, Giannis, everyone, like the conversation right now,
That never happened, but
right? And that's kind of why this conversation dies out a little bit, because Damian Lillard probably won't. But if he did, I think that there could be a conversation there for, was his ring more meaningful than Dirk's? And I would say maybe,
I don't think so.
because that's it. I mean, every single team in this league now is really, really tough. And I understand that Dirk was going through some of the greatest teams to ever touch the court. But so would Damian Lillard to me. The Warriors, Boston, I don't know. I think that would be really interesting.
yeah. Well, that year Dirk also beat KD, Westbrook, and Kobe to reach the final.
But they were young.
And then
They were young.
Dirk wasn't so young himself. He was past his prime.
Right. That's a good point
And
too.
who-
Yeah,
and
he
who-
was.
and
carried
who-
that
who
team.
the second best player on the team was.
He wasn't a shooter either. That's kind of where another point that you could make here is that he wasn't like a 3-point shooter. He wasn't a point guard that could move as fast as Damian Lillard and had the stamina of a racehorse. Like Dirk was doing post fadeaways and like grinding basically to win that team, or to get that team to win.
He was hitting threes, but he wasn't obviously not on the level that like Dame Lillard is, or like
Logo Lillard, baby.
I think he was like the introduction to like the unicorns we have now, like with Kristaps Porzingis from the three, like these big shooting the ball from deep, like Karl Anthony Towns too as well, and then Victor Wembanyama, when he comes in, he's gonna be crazy,
Yeah. Dirk and Chris Bosh definitely started like that stretch four position.
Interesting.
They definitely pioneered that position. So
well, and that's interesting to me because I guess I kind of thought of it as like the need for unicorns, as Victor called it, of like a shooting big man, was because of Curry. And I'm not saying that that's my like take on it. I guess that's just like from my perspective, it seemed like once Curry came into the league and really changed the point scale system, and he didn't do that completely by himself, but there's an argument to be made that he did change the game. So I guess from my perspective, I thought that the bigs started shooting more and more because of Curry and because of having to kind of fall back on that. But no, you guys are right. Like, I guess I forget that Tim Duncan and
No, 100% Curry did like kickstart that, but Dirk was like, he was shooting the ball from deep, and stuff, and like Curry just accelerated that that movement to where everybody can shoot the ball, like they saw him shooting from deep and everybody else wanted to shoot because of him and how good he was at three.
Yeah. I kind of since this is a big topic on the media, or like in basketball right now, I kind of wanted to hit a little bit on it. So load management, which is something that I personally believe is, let's say, useful. I'll call it useful and I'll say that it is to me something that's valuable in the NBA. I don't hold it against players that they take rest. And I ultimately think that in a lot of cases, like for example, the Warriors, I think this year there people are, like, the Warriors are not looking too great. Like they might not go back to back. But if I was a coach or if I was an organization and I saw out of the calendar year, so many games, and I see that my team is looking pretty strong. And I think, you know what, this team just won a championship. We know what we have. We know that the only important thing at the end of the day, at the end of the season, is playoffs and the finals. So to me, load management makes a lot of sense, right? You take your players out for a little bit of the season. And this goes into even losing games. I'm not saying that NBA teams are losing games on purpose, but I definitely don't think that all losses mean as much to the teams. I think that losses are important because what it does is it kind of, I don't know. I kind of want to address this more, but I want to hear what you guys think about load management and how it plays a role in the NBA right now.
It does, like, I get what you're saying. Like, it does make sense why load management should be in the NBA, like there, but then again, like, there's like, if you look at that Stan Van Gundy exchange with KD on Twitter, he was saying that 90s NBA teams had just a trainer and strength coach. They practiced more often and harder and played more back-to-backs. Teams now have huge medical and performance staffs value rest over practice, yet injuries and games missed are way up. And he's like, something's not working. So obviously, like, load management, like, in theory, it makes sense why these players should be doing it, but it's not working. There's more injuries, there's more like missed games, and like I respect these players that want to go out and show their talent every game. They want to play every game. Like Anthony Edwards, I don't know if you guys saw that at the All-Star game. He was saying basically like to just play, like these fans are paying like who knows how much money, and this could be the only time they get the chance to see you, just play. And then even Russell Westbrook as well said it. He's like, someone told him, you never know who's watching. I always value like the one kid that drove 1,000 miles to come and see me play that one random night. And if I don't play, I feel like I'm letting that one fan down.
Yeah.
So just these players, like I love the people that have that mindset of like coming out and showing up to every game. Kobe never missed games. So
yeah.
At the end of the day,
go ahead, Gav. My bad.
I was gonna say, like, at the end of the day, like, it's a business and the NBA is entertainment. Obviously, you're gonna want to go out and see like the best players play. Like, there's been NBA games where I've been to where a player was out, not because of load management, but because of injury, and it sucked. I was like, oh, I really want to see them play. So like going to a game, like Victor said, and then wanting to see one of your favorite players play. Say you want to see LeBron play, but he's tired and he doesn't want to play. Like, bro,
Let's sleepy.
Like, it's your job. Go out there and play, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I understand like injuries, and like he said earlier, like we're seeing a lot more like hamstring injuries and groins being pulled and knee injuries. It's because I feel like it's because players are being less active. Like, yeah, those same injuries happened in the 90s, and what Vic said about back then, all they had was the team doctor and trainer. Also, the technology, like with the shoes, weren't much better either, because that's another thing that plays a part, the equipment that they had. So like, why is it happening more even when players are taking even more rest? I feel like that's the reason. It's because they're taking more rest. You got to keep your body active. It's a long season. You have to stay solid. You can't be taking that many breaks like that because you got to stay warmed up.
Yeah. No. I agree with that. And I will say that, like, from a personal perspective, I went to the Warriors versus Bulls game in 2017, I think, when KD was on that team, and I got to see KD play, but Curry took a load management night in Chicago. And you're right, like 100%, that was probably like one of the biggest, like, damn, like, you know what I mean? You pay all this money to go see the Warriors play, and you end up seeing Draymond Green fumble with the ball for 45 minutes. Like, it definitely, like, it sucks as a fan to see load management. I think the bigger question should be, maybe not should players take load management, but should the NBA season be less? And I know a lot of people, say that like, no, I don't think the NBA season should be less, but I think that the NBA also doesn't really have that many viewerships of every single game that, gets broadcasted. And we see that because not all of them are live covered and some of them are on only the NBA app and all this other stuff. So to me, it seems like maybe there should be a question of how short or long should the season be and how long should these players have to travel the country and everything. And I want to get your guys' opinion on that, but I did also want to say, so my only rebuttal to the injury thing is there was an interview that I think Joe Rogan did, and basically the guy says, hey, so did you hear how they solved death by starvation in this third world country? And Joe Rogan was obviously like, no, like, how did they solve starvation or death by starvation in a country that's already starving? And the guy goes, well, basically, they just made it illegal for the doctors to write on the transcript that they had died from starvation. So they would change it from died of natural causes or whatever. So then starvation was just no longer an issue. So my point with that is basically, do you guys think that there's a chance? And I actually agree with you, Kev, a lot on if your body maintains too much rest and you're not keeping yourself active, that could lead to injuries. I do agree with that. But is it possible that the reason that there's more injuries is because our technology is better and that maybe Michael Jordan was playing with a, torn hamstring or hurt Achilles heel or something like that, but we didn't have the technology to specifically grab it? And as a byproduct, do you think sometimes teams say, oh, this player's out with a hamstring injury when maybe it's just, he's a little sore? And whereas players back then would play through it, they don't even want to take the chance. So they'll just say he's hurt and keep him off the bench and then bring him back when he's fully healthy. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, that could absolutely be the case. Like saying like, oh, he is dealing with a little bit of soreness, doesn't feel like playing today. Boom, groin injury. I think that could definitely absolutely be the case. Just one of those things that you'll never know.
Right.
Like that we're going to talk about it forever. We can have all these opinions on it, but yeah.
Do you think the NBA season should be shorter, or you think it's fine the way it is? Leave it at
just because it's been at 82 games for a while now. Yeah. And it's just the way it is. Like I feel like it's one of those things that should be like undisputable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. There's also been talks of them doing a in season tournament, like in the middle of like the season, like something that can compete with March Madness. Again, I don't think that they can come up with anything that will be better than the playoffs or compete with March Madness on that type of level. There's a lot of fans who love watching March Madness, and for this NBA to make an in-season tournament, like what's going to motivate these NBA players to play for this tournament, and like what's the reward if like the team wins, and is that going to make the season shorter or is it going to make the season longer? I don't think it should make the season longer at all. It should like probably be the same length, 82. So I mean, definitely interesting to see what Adam Silver will want to do.
Yeah.
I think if they make the season shorter in any way, it should be during the playoffs. Maybe instead of every single round being best of 7, having the first and second round be best of 5, the way they used to do it back when like Jordan played. But I don't remember exactly which rounds were best of 5, but I remember the finals were always best of 7. Yeah. I think like the first and second round were best of 5. Maybe doing something like that. But
that could work.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Maybe. Or like I don't even know. Like, see, like what would an NBA team like want to get a reward out of like playing the middle of the season like tournament? Like maybe like lottery picks or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I wasn't even thinking lottery picks. Honestly, I was thinking, like I don't know. It'd have to be something to do with the seeds. It would have to be like the winner of the whole tournament gets automatic play-in, or like something like that. It would have to be something in reference to the championship. I don't think you're going to motivate teams, specifically players. You'll motivate the organization by giving them lottery picks. But I think if you want to have like a really fun to watch tournament, you should try to motivate the players, like you said, and that's going to be tough. But I think if they give them some type of opportunity for like playoff contention or playoff rewards, maybe like you said, Kev, if they win the tournament, no, that wouldn't work. But I was going to say, like, if they win the tournament, like they do a 5-game series,
Yeah.
or something like that, or they get to play a certain team. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of logistics that go on
Then
with
the
that.
season they can pick who they want to play in the first round.
That's a good, yeah.
That could be something cool.
Yeah. They really should though, because they need to have something that's gonna motivate the players.
Yeah,
because
yeah, if because like that's what I'm saying. Like if there's like if they're just doing it for fun, these players aren't gonna care, you know, and it's gonna like be terrible. Like the views, nobody's gonna watch that, you know. They have to do something, and I can't think of anything that would motivate these players more.
what I can already kind of see happening, which would piss everyone off, is teams playing in the tournament with not their best guys and basically allowing their best guys to sit because the tournament doesn't really mean anything. It's almost like the All-Star break. I mean, obviously the best players go to the All-Star game, but you know what I mean? Like they're not really going to care. They're going to be like, that's too risky for injury. That's too risky for all this. Like we're not even going to play them. But if they did play like the biggest names in basketball, would you guys tune in? Would you guys think that may be more fun to watch than March Madness? And I know that that's completely far left field because March Madness is dope. Obviously, there's a lot more competition level there. There's a lot more heart and passion in those games. But what do you guys think? Would that be more entertaining to watch as a March Madness level NBA game?
I think it would. I mean, March Madness has like that reputation. Like everyone loves to watch March Madness. They got the thing with the brackets. Like everyone fills out a bracket, even if you know nothing about college basketball, just because it's fun. It's exciting.
That's crazy.
The amount of upsets that just happen every single year when you say you got a school like St. Peter's, whatever the hell that is. I don't even know if that's real. Just beating like a big school like Kansas. That happens in the NBA. Say like the Kings beat the Warriors and like. Say if the NBA like they did like this March Madness thing, all 30 teams were in the bracket and they did it March Madness style, one and done. Like say if like the Kings beat like the Nuggets, I feel like it wouldn't necessarily be the same because it's an NBA team beating an NBA team.
Yeah.
It's not like a college team that recruits way better, that's way bigger, that's in a way harder conference and division.
Yeah.
I just don't think it'd be the same. I just feel like at this point it'd be a waste. And they're just reaching at that point to try to be better than March Madness.
It's not as big of a Dave and Goliath story, kind of, because like you said, Indiana beating, let's say, what's the number one right now in the country for
in college?
basketball?
It's Houston.
Houston?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it would be like if IU, let's say for example, beat Houston. That would mean a lot more, like you said, than the Brooklyn Nets beating the Warriors. You know what I mean? You'd be like, oh yeah, it's a regular season game. Anything can happen. Like both teams are NBA players. So what do you think though, Vic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like, again, I don't think this will even compete with like the March Madness at all. Like there's just more excitement to March Madness than there would be NBA in-season tournament. Like these players are like in college, they're fighting for the championship. You know, that's the whole point of the March Madness tournament. This in-season tournament, who knows what the heck they'd be fighting for, you know? So there's no way you can compete with that. And there's so many teams that are in the March Madness bracket. I think it's like 60, right? So
start with 64, yeah.
Yeah, 64. Yeah. So it's like, how can you, there's not even 64 NBA teams. So like you're already at the NBA is already at like a disadvantage. Maybe if they did G League, you know, that'd be kind of cool if they did like a G League NBA in the season, middle of the season tournament. Maybe that could compete with March Madness, you know.
Do you think that would be fun to watch? Do you think that the G League players could potentially beat out a pro team?
Oh yeah, 100%. There's hoopers on the G League, you know, like they just got to keep proving themselves and like hopefully get a roster spot to like, you know what I'm saying? So like these games that like if the NBA does a G League tournament, like, and they do like a crossover, like you can show out these like players that you never even heard of and get their name out, you know.
Do you think there's a is okay, I just thought of something. What if they brought in like foreign teams? Because I think you guys may have seen the Instagram post about like, oh, what if we do the All-Star game as America, like the
Americans,
US
that's
team
cool.
versus all the foreigners? Yeah. So what would you guys think if we took like the best basketball club team from like let's say Spain, right? I think they have a Real Madrid team.
They do.
Isn't that where Luca played or something like that?
Luka
Yeah.
did play at Real Madrid for many years, yeah.
There you go. So you have teams like that. You have teams in probably China. You probably have teams in other parts of the world. That could be interesting, I think. Maybe even more so than the G League, because as you guys have said before, European basketball is different, but it could almost, hold a
They play
toe
the game
or
a
be
completely
better
different way.
sometimes. So go
Yeah.
ahead.
I was gonna say they play the game a completely different way. They're professionals, just like the NBA. Obviously, it's not on the same level, but like it's tough over there. It's not easy. You hear players say, you've heard like many players say, like Luka Doncic say, like, oh, it's actually harder overseas than the NBA just because the style of play is different and just everything in between. And the set of rules are different too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like they have completely different rules actually. Like if the ball's bouncing around the rim in Europe, you can slap it out. NBA, that's a
Yeah.
goal time.
Yeah.
I think that's a sick rule. I think that should be in the NBA.
That is
And,
kind of cool.
and you've seen like what I don't know if we watched the Redeem Team documentary together, and you saw like they struggled against Europe. You know, it took them years before they could actually beat and get like United States basketball to where it used to be, because the United States is always ranked number one, and now like I think this year is the first year they're not ranked number one for FIBA.
Yeah. Another thing with that too, though, is I feel like that's like a little misleading. It's because the players now they think they're way too cool to go play for FIBA and the Olympics. Our best players for America aren't going out and playing. Curry isn't going. LeBron's not going. KD isn't going. Like they're sending players like Bam and Tatum. Like obviously those guys are great, obviously, but like if the NBA was sending the best American players for the Olympics and FIBA, it wouldn't be a question of who number one is and who would win, in my opinion.
I'm inclined to agree with Kevin. I 100% agree. I think the
Oh,
players that are being sent are probably not the best. But that brings us to something really interesting, I think. Why don't we real quick try to build ourselves an Olympic team that could win against like Europe, but like undisputably, like our picks for that kind of thing. So we're gonna go point guard. We'll just do the five, and then we'll do, let's say, like four off the bench or five off the bench or something like that. So who's our pick for point guard? I would say I'm gonna go Curry. I think that's obvious.
yeah, I feel like that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Who's at the two?
Mm, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah. The
I-
two is hard.
With two guards,
You could even put like you could maybe even put like Tatum at the two,
You can put Tatum at the two. James Harden at the two.
and James Harden. I'd rather have Tatum, but
Tatum. Okay. That's fair.
well, I'd probably just go best lineup that you could probably put out there. So like Curry, Bron, KD, Tatum, and then gotta go big
Giannis at the four.
no, you can't. He's a Greek.
again.
Oh yeah, geez, I forgot. That's a good. Yeah, I forgot that's like a thing. Okay, or like that's like what we have to focus on.
But there's something else I also want to say for
Yeah.
because I had to pull this up because I seen this list the other day. So the what's it called? I saw like a qualifying, like the USA rank for like the FIBA for 2023 this year. USA is ranked second. Do you know who the top three players are for the American team? For Team USA?
Yeah, I know it's
No,
not that big of names, so
So the top three players for Team USA in the 2023 FIBA American Cup are Xavier Moon, Jordan Bell, and Justin Jackson.
yeah, that's
Where if USA wasn't sending 2K auto-generated rookies to go play in this tournament, maybe we'd have a higher rank. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who Xavier Moon is. Jordan Bell, I know who that is. He was on the Warriors. He played at Oregon. Justin Jackson, He was on the Kings at one point. I don't even think he's in the league right now. He went to UNC. That's the only reason why I know those guys are. Like, this is who we're sending.
Yeah.
Dewan Antonio Hernandez, Shaquille Harrison, John Jenkins.
And we're still number 2. And
These are real people.
Yeah, and we're still number.
They're still ranked number 2.
I don't even know if that team would get, like, finish number 2. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think they would either. I feel like putting them number 2 is generous.
Yeah. Who's number 1? You said?
I think it's Spain.
Spain. Yeah, I know Spain's cold. I know Greece is cold. I know.
Slovenia is good.
Sweden too.
Yeah, Finland. They have a good team.
Europe basketball will be interesting to see how that plays
even
into
France too with Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, France. They have Gobert.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's a big lineup, and like, I don't. Like, you're telling me the duo of Ricky Rubio and Bo Cruz is going to be better than Curry and LeBron in the Olympics? Like,
probably not. I'm inclined to agree with you. I don't think that. I think the United States is still the best place for basketball athletes. Yeah,
it is.
I would say so.
It's starting to change though, man.
It is.
Europe's getting
Definitely.
tough, man.
Europe's getting tough too, and just everywhere else. But like I said, when it comes down to sending our best players, nobody's messing with the U.S.
100%, yeah.
It's just also too, you can't mess with their funding. Like, the amount of teams or the amount of NBA teams that have well over $1 billion at their disposal to spend each year on health, facilities, rest, all that stuff. It plays a factor. I don't think that the Europeans have as much access to the technology that the NBA players do, which plays a huge role, I think. Has to. I think we did want to also hit on 2 points, which were Lakers are currently sitting what are they at?
Wait, no. They're 13th in the West. They are 20 and 32.
20 and 32. Okay.
Darvin Ham, he wants to set a goal out for the Lakers to get the 6th seed. So do you guys think like they can potentially get that with this new lineup they have? I know D'Lo. I don't know if you guys watched the Warriors game. I tuned into that, and he got out with a ankle injury. It was unfortunate. Like, he stepped on Dante DiVincenzo, and like he didn't even see him. Like, his ankle just like rolled. So
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you know anything else about his injury? Like, is he gonna be out for a while or no?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be out for a couple games. Like, I don't think they said it's that serious of an ankle injury, but
It'll
he
take
didn't
some
return
rest.
to the game. So. I mean, the Lakers, like, at All-Star break, man, they improved their team, man, with the Malik Beasley. He's been playing good, Mo Bamba. I mean, he's not that great of a center, but I mean, he can complement AD maybe. So we'll see how the chemistry works with this new vamped Lakers roster.
Yeah. I think shooting for the 6th seed is definitely shooting above and beyond into the stars. We're talking jumping 7 roster spots.
That's insane.
In 2 months, when you also added Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to the conference. These teams got better. So
no, you're right.
They can crack the play-in. They just have to get 10th seed. They have to be the 10th seed to crack the play-in.
Yeah.
That's the best I see them doing, is becoming the 10th seed, 9th seed.
I actually, and which is weird because I made the prediction earlier in the video that Lakers could potentially win the finals, but I think the only shot that they have at being in that conversation is by making the plans, not the top 6 or 7 seeds. Like, I don't think that's attainable to them, especially with D'Angelo Russell going out, and especially with everything that we've seen the Lakers go through over the last year. I think play-in is way more attainable to them than 6 seed for sure. Most definitely.
Oh, and do you guys what do you guys think about the Kings, man? They're 3rd in the West,
I don't know crap about the Kings.
They're 34 and 25, man. They kind of got a decent lineup with Fox, Sabonis, Herter, and Harrison Barnes, and then they have Malik Monk coming off the bench, man. So
got a good rookie, Murray.
Yeah, Murray too, man. And I don't know. Man. They could be a surprise, man. Nobody's really talking about them. You know, like the media's not really covering the Kings. They just beat the Lakers or Clippers by 176 to 175. So
Yeah, I think they kind of fall in the category of like a regular season Utah Jazz and the Bulls last year. How doing really good in the regular season, but once playoff comes, I just don't really see them. I'm not saying that they definitely won't win the first round or second round, but they're really young. They have no experience. When was the last time the Kings went to the playoffs?
dude, probably like 20 years.
Like 46 BC. But it's been a really long time since this team has licked the playoffs. So maybe they can make some noise, but like I was saying, really young team, and they're going to be good in the future.
100%. I like that comparison you made with the they're like a Utah Jazz, you know, like
Regular
yeah,
season, they're hooping, they're going crazy, but then playoffs come, it's just
yeah, that's a great comparison to that team, man. I do see that like happening with the Kings as well.
yeah.
Well, and this
like
is why I made that comment earlier about, you know, how regular season and playoffs is a very different thing. And this kind of entails to me a little bit with like load management. Just because like, I don't know, you look at teams like the Kings, you know what I mean? If I'm the Warriors and I'm in the later part of the season and I see the Kings are like good, I kind of feel like a lot of times like they may have I'm not saying that the coach is saying this or anything like that, but it could be a feeling within the team of like, yeah, like the Kings are a good regular season team, but like who cares? We're never gonna actually like if we lose to them tonight, what it doesn't matter. We beat the crap out of them in a 7-game series in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So I think that that's kind of the mindset that a lot of teams go into when they're playing throughout the regular season, and that's why you have sometimes now the Clippers versus the Kings game. I was watching that didn't look like they were messing around. Like both of those teams wanted to win. But I think it does happen in the NBA, especially amongst the like powerhouse teams like the Warriors, Celtics, Bucks. I think Bucks are one of those. I think Bucks go under the radar as one of those, but I think the Bucks are like in the same conversation as like the Warriors of teams that have maintained their level of what's the word I'm looking for? Strength, and they kind of just go under the radar until they get to the playoffs, and it's like, oh yeah, the Bucks are back in, or you know, the Warriors are back in. It's like, yeah, that was probably going to happen because they have always been the best team in each of their divisions. But again, Boston looks insane this year, so we'll see. But I think we've hit all of the points that we wanted to on the cast, so that's pretty cool. But as we go to the next one, there is one more thing that I think would be kind of cool to touch up on if you guys are down, which is the France player that is about, I think, 9'11", something like that. No, but for real, what are your guys' opinions on Wembanyama? I think is his name.
Wembanyama.
What? Wembanyama?
Wembanyama, yeah.
Wembanyama? Okay.
Dude,
I just learned how to say Giannis
no.
Antetokounmpo.
Oh no, you're good. I wasn't like I was just about to say like, dude, he's gonna be definitely like an interesting player to like see when he comes into NBA. I'm excited for him to come into NBA. I want to see what he can prove, you know. I don't know if you guys seen those memes, but like he gets that first shoulder blast from Giannis, you know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how he lasts. Like but he was saying that he doesn't want to put any weight on right now because he's waiting to see what NBA team drafts him, and he's gonna want to build his body through that team, like how they want to use him and stuff. But he's a phenomenal player. I'm excited to see him come out, one of the biggest draft prospects, probably like comparably to LeBron. You know,
Yeah.
I know Zion.
I would say he's probably one of the biggest draft prospects ever. I mean, the other day, Bleacher Report made an Instagram post, and that with shoes on, he was 7'5". Now, when you think of a player that's 7'5", you're thinking back to the basket, dump it into him, catch him, and he'll do whatever. No, this dude has handles,
Yeah.
and he can shoot from deep.
Yeah.
So it's literally like, I remember the first time I seen him play. It was earlier this year, or near the end of 2022, when his team was playing the G League Ignite and they televised it on ESPN. I remember the game started, and I don't think I watched the whole first half. I don't think I sat down once, because just seeing him out there and move around, like, it was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like someone that big shouldn't be able to have that good of shooting mechanics, being able to shoot it from deep. He even crossed someone up and went to the left and shot off a one-legged three-pointer. I'm like,
Crazy.
this guy was you can't even draw a player better than this,
Yeah.
or like skillful wise, like a guy like this.
Dude,
But that and saying that like unicorn, whenever someone says like, oh, this player's a unicorn, it's never worked out. Like calling someone a unicorn, like Porzingis. Yeah, Porzingis is good, but like people call him the unicorn, and just look at him now, he's just kind of mid.
Yeah.
And just like a bunch of players, like when you're that tall, you're very prone to injury. I'm really hoping that's not the case, because he's not like a walking stick. He has like a little bit of size to him. Like he looks a little cut and in shape. He moves really well. But like you're saying, they're definitely going to focus on him. The kid's only 18 years old. He has nothing but time and nothing but potential. So
it's insane.
No,
like, literally the only thing we can do right now is talk about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
but I did see though he does take care of his body well. Like he's stretching. He's doing a lot of stretches that like not a lot of like people are doing. Like they're not like regular stretches. They're like I don't know. I saw it on like Instagram, like a video of it, and I think he has a good mindset. You know, he said he wants a little bit of a game like Giannis and Curry. I think I know it was for sure Giannis, but I forgot the other part that he said. Oh, Giannis and KD. That's who it was. He said that's who he masters his game off of. So like that'll be a scary duo, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are two pretty good people to matter game after, considering both of those dudes are virtually unguardable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see, man. Only time will tell. Like I said, the only thing we can do right now is talk about it.
I do, before we log off, because this is being recorded, I definitely want to hear what your guys' predictions are for Wembanyama's or Wembanyama. How do you say it? Wembanyama.
Yeah.
Wembanyama. Okay. I want to hear your guys' predictions for Wembanyama's future as an NBA player in his first season and all the way up until the end. If you guys don't want to answer that, it's fine, but I just want to kind of get your guys' opinion. I know this is all predictions, but that's all we can do as basketball fans is predict how good somebody's going to be or shit on them if they're not going to be. So what are your guys' predictions for Wembanyama?
For his career, I'm not going to give you one like that. I feel like that's a little bit like disrespectful. You know, like we haven't seen him play in the NBA yet, but I'm sure he'll do great. I think his first season, I think I could see him getting Rookie of the Year. So I feel like that's a good goal to have for a player like that. So
for sure.
Yeah.
You, Kev?
Kind of the same boat. I hate to sit here and say how many MVPs and rings I think he's going to win, because then again, that all depends on like what team he's going to go to. If he goes to the Pistons, he'll probably never win a ring. But or Houston, just might as well just go back overseas at that point. But like he said, I think a good goal for him to have for his first year is Rookie of the Year and All-Star.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Not a lot of people have been like a rookie in the All-Star game. I know Blake Griffin did it. Off the top of my head, that's the only person I can think of. I'm sure there is.
LeBron?
I think there is. No, he wasn't. I'm sure there is one or two more that were All-Stars as rookies, but Blake Griffin, I know like off the top of my head.
Yeah. Was it LaMelo or am I tripping? Someone just did it recently.
I think it wasn't Zion.
I think it was LaMelo.
I think LaMelo, his second year, he was All-Star.
That's crazy.
Yeah, his second year, he was All-Star. That was last year.
That makes sense. I'll give my Wembanyama. If I could even say his name right, that'd be nice. But I'll give my Wembanyama position. So I'm gonna say I don't think he's gonna be Rookie of the Year his first year in. I actually think he's gonna have a really tough time adjusting to NBA ball. However, I'll say it, in terms of his career, I won't say that he'll win 6 NBA championships and 6 MVPs, but I definitely think that if the track that I see him going on is a tough start, a tough first 1 to 3 years, and then he just takes off. After LeBron leaves, after Giannis is old, after Curry is gone, I see him being the best player in the NBA from that point on for a while. And we'll see how many championships he ends up with. But I think the future is bright for that kid. I think that his stardom will gradually grow in the NBA. I don't think he's going to come in and dominate. I think it's going to take some time when he has to adjust to those really big guys that play a little bit more of an aggressive ball. But yeah, no, I think it'll be really interesting. Yeah, I think that he could potentially be the best NBA player. What's it called? Like he'll be the best like player, if that makes sense. I think probably by 2027, 2026, somewhere around there. We'll see though. Like I said, I just wanted to say this because it's on recording, and if one of us is right, that or if you two are right versus me, that'd be funny.
Only
But
time
yeah,
will tell.
what'd you say?
Only time will tell.
Yeah, only time will tell. That's true. But I think that brings us to the end of our podcast. I don't know if you guys wanted to hit on any more points, but
Good.
you're good. Are you
Yeah,
good?
we're good. We've touched up on everything we needed to today for sure.